Hello everyone, it's Maki. GQuuuuuuX beginning is doing incredibly well at the box office. According to official media reports, ticket sales have exceeded 1 million. Considering the population of Japan, this is a fantastic achievement. In addition, an event was held at theaters in Japan, where the directors greeted fans and shared their thoughts on the story. Today, I'm going to introduce the comments of the staff. Please be aware, I'll be discussing spoilers for GQuuuuuX today. If you want to watch the movie without any prior information, please watch this show after you've seen the movie. Now, let's dive into the news. Let's start with the comments of Mr. Ikuto Yamashita, who was in charge of the mechanical design. He shared some thoughts about the Earth Federation vs. Gundam. A quick side note: yesterday, while I was working on a program about the Metal Robot Spirits version of the Red Gundam, the White Gundam product was officially announced. The price is approximately $127. It may vary depending on the exchange rate. Pre-order started on February 3rd in Japan. Shipment is scheduled for September 2025. Mr. Yamashita also shared some insights on the design of this Gundam. The Gundam is the first mobile suit created by the Earth Federation forces. Therefore, in the world of GQuuuuuX, we didn't aim for a design that looks cool or beautiful in a way that gives viewers a sense of security. This new employee has a pale complexion and looks pale, but does he have the skills? Can he do the job? That's the kind of impression we wanted to create. The idea was that the assembly of inorganic mechanical parts would eventually result in the humanoid form. And once it took on a human form, there was an eerie sense of unease about it. Its that signature prototype looked polished yet slightly unbalanced. The first time I saw the first Gundam was in a newspaper ad. As a kid, the gun cannon with its big shoulder-mounted weapons looked much cooler to me. Gundam, on the other hand, didn't have any visibly powerful weapons attached. And in monochrome print, Gundam's colors looked faded and weak. To my younger self, it didn't look like the main hero at all. It wasn't until I saw him in action in the story that I realized Gundam was strong and cool. This was Mr. Yamashita's comment. If they had gone with a design closer to traditional Gundams, even first-time viewers would immediately recognize it as a powerful presence. By deliberately giving it a different and unique look, they wanted the audience to focus on how it works in the story. This is a very interesting approach. For example, the Strike Gundam of the Seed series looks like a modern evolution of the design of the first Gundam. This was the result of the company's desire to bring back first Gundam in a modern way, attract a new generation of fans, and make sure that kids want to watch Gundam. The way Gundam's design changes based on the role it's supposed to play in the story, and the intentions of the designers is truly fascinating. And at the theater, the staff shared their thoughts on GQuuuuuX. Director Kazuya Tsurumaki and screenwriter Yoji Inokidu made some comments. They addressed a topic that has fascinated many fans. Why did they use the story of first Gundam at the beginning? When Mr. Tsurumaki first received an offer from Sunrise asking, "Would you like to make a Gundam?" he was confused at first. He loved Gundam, but he wondered if he was really qualified to take on such a project. However, as time went on, his passion grew and he decided to create the story of GQuuuuuX. Some Sunrise never specified whether they wanted a universal century story or an alternate setting, Mr. Tsurumaki explained. I suspect they were originally looking for an alternate story. But if I was going to do it, I wanted to do a universal century story. So I submitted a proposal based on a what-if scenario in the history of First Gundam. First Gundam is a very important work for Sunrise. I thought there was a very high chance that this idea would be rejected. But surprisingly, it was approved without any problems. After production was approved, I asked screenwriter Hideaki Anno to draw a rough outline of the early story. Then, as if struck by a powerful inspiration, Mr. Anno delivered an enormous amount of material. After he finished working on Evangelion, Mr. Anno was in an incredibly free state of mind. It was as if he had returned to his childhood days as an anime-loving boy, with ideas pouring out one after the other. The opening of GQuuuuuX beginning is the same as the opening of First Gundam. There are even several scenes where Charles Neville speaks and always lines. Mr. Anno is the only one who could have taken this approach. For me, or many other creators, such a decision would have been impossible. We would have either tried to put our own spin on it, hesitated out of respect for the original director, Mr. Yoshiyuki Tomino, or convinced ourselves that it wasn't good work to do a faithful remake. But the script that Mr. Anno wrote could be described in the best possible way as a fun-stitching creation. And yet paradoxically, because of its freedom and boldness, it became something innovative and daring. Of course, Mr. Tsurumaki remains the director of the story of GQuuuuuX. And Mr. Anno, as the screenwriter, works with Mr. Enokido to create the script. Perhaps that is why Mr. Anno was able to work so freely on the story. It reminds me of George Lucas. It's a well-known story among Star Wars fans, but Lucas did not direct Episode 5 or Episode 6. He only participated as a screenwriter and creator of the original concept. He deliberately chose to focus on writing rather than directing in order to free himself from the massive responsibility of overseeing the entire production. In some ways, Mr. Anno is in a similar situation. Furthermore, the decision to faithfully recreate the story of First Gundam probably stems from his deep respect for Mr. Tomino. While this approach may be unprecedented in anime, it is actually quite common in other artistic fields. In classical music, for example, the goal is often to perform the works of great composers as faithfully as possible, respecting the composer's original intent. Although the performance reflects small differences in interpretation among each performer, bold arrangements are not executed within the framework of classical music. For Mr. Anno, Mr. Tomino isn't just a senior figure in the industry, he has become a historical legend. And we also got to see an adorable side of Mr. Tsurumaki and Mr. Enokido. While working on the story of GQuuuuuX, they had many discussions. One of the most heated debates they had was about who is stronger, the gym or the Rigdom, a topic they apparently argued about for hours. What do you think? Which one is stronger? Nowadays, we have a lot of official data, so it's possible to compare them with numerical statistics. But back when the first Gundam TV anime aired, there were no such numbers to refer to. They debated this question with the excitement of children in their childhood days. Mr. Enokido argued that the Rigdom is stronger, while Mr. Tsurumaki countered with the gym is basically a Gundam, so there's no way it could lose. The name gym actually comes from Gundam type mass production model, so in a sense it's not entirely wrong to call it a Gundam itself. In terms of generator power and total thrust, the Gym and Rigdom are actually quite similar on paper. However, the Gym only weighs about half as much as the Rigdom. On top of that, the Gym can be equipped with beam weapons, the latest technology at the time. Personally, I think the Gym is the stronger mobile suit. Debates like these are part of what makes the Gundam series so fascinating. With all the passion and dedication that the creators put into GQuuuuuuX, where will the story go from here? Let's wait and see. Thanks for watching until the end. I'll see you in the next episode.